Alright, good morning, afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you. Welcome back. We are back after our week break. Welcome to Season 6, Round 6 of the Tier 2 Championship for BRL. Sure has been a minute. I apologise for the abrupt end to last round's stream. That was a problem with my internet service provider. It has been fixed, so that should not happen today. But once again, I do apologise for that. I will go over last week's stats as well, just so you know what you missed out on. Because last week, well, not last week, last round, it was 2 weeks ago now, it was an interesting one, to give it that. But for now, we're going to head through our current standings that we have as of now. Sorry, I did not have time this week to make my graphics, so I'm using the standard ones. So, let's start with our driver standings for today. So, for the driver standings, we are going to be seeing Rob Su sitting in a first place on 114 points. He has been holding first place for, I believe, let me head back and have a look. He's been holding first the entirety of the championship so far. He's really been managing to open that gap this season now. Especially with us now passing the halfway mark, he's starting to form that gap and sort of secure his position up there. Now in second is Resurrection on 94. This is also really good to see. Resurrection opening up a gap between him and third, and it's albeit due to a fantastic performance from him, especially during the I think it was round 4 and round 3 that we saw some great performance from him. In third, Jimmy has managed to make his way back up to the top 3 on 79. That was after the unusual race that we had last round. I'll get back to that in a bit. I'll speak about that during qualifying. And now in fourth, we have Melv on 74. Not too large of a gap, so Jimmy is going to need to watch out and defend for that position. Baz is in fifth on 68. We have Aero in sixth on 52. Harinator in 7th on 52 as well. Nico 8th on 45. BGR is 9th at 44. 10th is LX on 29. 11th is Sheepers, 26. 12th is FML on 20. 13th is JR at 26, who is standing on 20. 14th is San85, sitting on 19. Armalanth is in 15th on 18th. Chi is in 16th on 18. 17th is Soft on 17. 18th is Daedric on 16. 19th is Alleyhouse on 14th. And 20th is Little Eric on 9. Getting into that later end of the season, we are really starting to see these gaps open up, especially at the top of the standings. It's going to be great to see how the competition adapts and evolves as well the rest of the season goes on, as we still have 5 more rounds to go. Without further ado, let's move on to our drivers. For our drivers, we have Mercedes sitting in first on 148. This is mainly due to the fantastic performance Rob Su has been putting out over the season. He's really managed to open up a gap, and with being the first driver in BRL as a whole to break the 100-point mark during this season, even out of Tier 1 and Tier 2, which is a major surprise. Ferrari's now holding second on 114. If I go back to driver, that is... Well, it's mainly due to Baz. His effort was 68, but the reserve drivers that have been put in place every now and then have really managed to push Ferrari up. Williams also sitting on the 111 mark. This is due to Jimmy's fantastic performance last race, coming in with that win for round 4. Was it round 5? I am done. Let me double check that. That was round 5. Jimmy managed to pull off a outstanding win, moving up 8th places, which was a true amazing one from him. Fourth, we have AlphaTauri sitting on 103 as of now. Then we have Alpine in 5th on 84. Haas is in 6th on 70. Aston Martin 67 in 7th. 8th is a Red Bull on 67 as well. Alfa Romeo in 9th on 52. And then we have McLaren in 10th on 48. It's the same with the driver standings. We're halfway through the season now and we're starting to see those gaps form, especially between Mercedes and Ferrari. That gap between first and second is massive. But then we also still have the smaller gaps, like between Williams and Ferrari, or Williams and AlphaTauri. There aren't too big gaps between them. And we even still have some ties, both within the driver and the constructor standings. So now, as they had the abrupt end to the stream last week, I just want to bring up last week's race. How we ended off last week. Let me see if I can get it up for you. I'll just quickly grab this image. Because last week we had a wet race, which is already not very favourable for the drivers. I'm just sorting something out so I can set something up to show you all last week. If I just pull this up for you. From the qualifying we had last week, just to give you an update on what happened last round due to the abrupt end, we had Resurrection qualifying in first, which was nice to see. Then we had Anley House second. This we all saw from the stream, but now this is the part that I want to show you, was the main results from last week. Bring that in so you can see that. Jimmy managed to come in first last week. We had a sudden wet race, so everyone was out on intermediates. Jimmy managed to move up 8 positions and take first last week, with Robson in second, FML in third, Sheep is in fourth, Daedric in fifth, Harinator in sixth, CDR in seventh, Resurrection in 8th, BGR in 9th, Nico in 10th, and Huntilla in 11th, and Chi in 12th. The rest of the 5 were DNFs due to the wet race. It was fantastic to see Jimmy move up into that first position race. I was sad that I didn't get to witness it due to my ISP cutting out. But that has really managed to push him up, as well as push up Williams as a whole, especially with FML coming in third as well. So that's just to update you on what happened last week. Now we are going to move on to qualifying in perfect time, as qualifying has just started. If anything's too loud or too quiet, just let me know and I will sort out. The drivers especially, now we are seeing the gaps open up throughout the season. It's quite good to see. Rob Stu's performance, especially this week, has been outstanding. As well as Resurrection, they have both been putting up fantastic performance for their teams. Oh, Nico had a slight loss of grip there. No, I'm really looking forward to see how the rest of this season pans out. Baz has been one as well, putting out a lot of great performance for Ferrari, being the top Ferrari driver of this season. He's also looking to push Ferrari up in the Constructor Championships, which is great to see. Only got one McLaren out today. Melv has been putting out great performance as well for Alpine. We see him fighting quite often within the rounds to move up and get as far up as he can on the grid. Him, Robsu and Nico especially are three figures that tend to clash quite often. And it's great to see how they perform. Alright, we've got the drivers starting to get lap times out now. Still got a couple drivers in the pits, still got Robsu, Jimmy and Sheepers in the pits. Everyone else appears to be getting out and getting laps out. It's going to be nice to see how the rest of the season does come to pan out. Especially with a lot of these drivers managing to push themselves up to open up gaps on the standings. Not just in terms of the drivers themselves, in terms of their constructors as well. Got Resurrection on the fastest lap right now, setting a 17.2. Resurrection was one of the drivers who has been putting up an outstanding performance, especially for AlphaTauri as a whole. He has been one of the drivers that Robsu is needing to keep his eye out on as he is moving up the standings, managing to shorten the gap between him and Robsu. But I have a feeling Resurrection is going to put in some great competition on the rounds to come, especially against Robsu, to try and push himself up on the grid to the top. Robsu's now coming up. Got 5 more drivers needing to set laps. San is another driver as well, who is one that looks like he could have some promising performance on the rounds to come. Especially if he wants to try and help push Aston Martin as a constructor up. Still got Resurrection holding the fastest lap time at a 17.2. Waiting to see more cars come out and more drivers set times. sure is going to be good though. The competition that we are going to see, especially with this round, as well as 4 more to go. 5 rounds left of Season 6. And, well, Rob Sue is a driver that is still managing to solidify his position. Whether he can hold on to it is going to remain to be seen. But he is putting out that fantastic performance that may allow him to stay up there in the driver standings, as well as keep Mercedes on top in terms of the constructors. We will see how it goes. So I've got 2 live drivers and out on lap time. Finally, out comes Jimmy, the winning driver from last race. Let's see if he can hold on to that, maybe for a 2nd race in a row. Milv now coming in 2nd, setting a lap time of a 17.6. Currently behind Resurrection 17.2. I know we do have a lot of reserve drivers in today. BGR managing to take pole from Resurrection by 0.03 seconds. There's 6 minutes and 45 seconds of qualifying left to go. As Jimmy finishes his out lap and comes on for maybe his first proper lap of this qualifying session. Let's see how he can do. This track is obviously, it's nicer than what some would think of like tracks like Miami. It has a nice mix of turns and straights, but then it also has a lot of elevation changes which drivers will need to account for. Especially some people say this track can have a lack of grip. So it'll be nice to see how the drivers set up their cars to combat that. And as well as how their tyre choices will reflect that. Whether they're going to try and hold out on a longer stint, maybe with mediums or hards, or whether they're just going to go full on performance with a pair of softs or mediums. Oh, it comes down to what the driver thinks is going to be best. We have quite a few reserve drivers in today, especially for McLaren only has 1 driver in, which is a reservist today. Got one of our reservists in for AlphaTauri and Williams as well. Reservists are another factor that comes into play, because to see if they can help push that constructor or give that constructor the boost it needs to move up on the standings. Jimmy still hasn't set a lap time. I do not believe there are any meaningful quali bans in effect this race. Let me just move over and double check that. Because I know there was some penalties put in place last time, but... No, there are no full-on quali bans in place for today's race. Meaning that we're going to hopefully see everyone with a quali time today. It will be great to see. BJR is still holding first with a 17.21, with Resurrection in second on a 17.24. Robsu's now managed to move up to third with a 17.6. Got Melv currently holding fourth on a 17.66. Sun on a 17.72. Plivank on sixth with a 17.74. Sheepers in seventh with a 17.75. But Jimmy retiring from the session. Look at that time. Oh. Got 2 drivers retired. Got a couple more drivers coming out. Resurrection especially might be looking to try and get a slightly faster lap than BGR to move up to pole for the race. Where did Jimmy retire without time? Alright, 2 minutes 50 for drivers to finish up their current laps. Sam going straight off the track there. Oh, Jesus Christ, as he smashes into the wall, losing his entire front wing. And okay, what an end to qualifying for San as he smashes into the barrier. Oh, a couple more drivers trying to set faster laps. BGR now moving his lap up even further with a 17.05. More or less most of the drivers are coming into the pits now to finish off qualifying. So currently we have BGR in first, with BGR will be starting pole as of now, with Resurrection in second, Chia in third, Sheepers in fourth, Blue Rank in fifth. I'll get over a more detailed view now. Alright, so after qualifying's finished, we're going to have BGR starting pole, with Resurrection in second, Chia third, with Sheepers in fourth, Blue Rank in fifth, Huo in sixth, Robsu 7th, Mel 8th, San in 9th, Trucker in 10th, Spider in 11th, with Baz in 12th, FCRL in 13th, Nico in 14th, Eric in 15th, with Dr. Braden in 16th, and Jimmy starting at the back of the grid. That is the end of today's qualifying. Next we're going to move on to the Portuguese Grand Prix of round 6. Season 6 of the BRL Racing League. Let's get into it. Alright. And lights out, and away we go. With BGR holding on to his pole position. Resurrection not too far behind them, looking for that gap. Okay, now come around. BGR goes off the track. Still managing to hold on to that first position though, with Resurrection not too far behind, looking for the opportunity to try and get past. Come to the next corner, Resurrection just gets around the outside, but it's not enough to get past. BGR still holding on to that position. It's gonna run those corner. Resurrection is right behind him. He's looking for that opportunity to get through. He just can't get to it. So now come around once again. BGO's got a hold onto that position now as it's just him left for Alfa Romeo. He's opening up a gap to Resurrection, but Resurrection is managing to close it down fast. Resurrection looks like an opportunity to try and get past. He's trying to find that gap. But it just isn't coming just yet. What a great performance off the line from BGR, managed to hold onto that pole position and defend against Resurrection. BGR's trying to fight him off, Resurrection is still very close behind. Going to be able to hold onto that position for the entirety of the race. Got Robson making his way up the grid as well. Managing to move up to 4th. But FCRL is one managing to make it up to 5th. He's going to be looking. Oh, we had a Haas spin out. She has spun out, almost ramming into one of the McLarens. Got Baz taking advantage, moving up to 7th past Melv. Baz now up to 6th, passing the McLaren. Melva's still moving up as well, with Nico now coming up as well. Jimmy managing to push his way up from the back of the grid as well. Up to 12th from 17th. Moving to 11th as well as he passes the McLaren. Robso as well managed to move his way up to the top 3. Now he's going to be looking to... Oh, he's got to defend. He's got the AlphaTauri right there with him managing to just creep past. Was able to gain that position back. He is right behind the AlphaTauri. Still got Resurrection on. Resurrection has managed to take the top position as BGR falls down to 15th. Resurrection is now opening that gap. He's trying to keep that gap open between him and the Williams. But Plivank is not too far behind, is going to be looking for that opportunity to move up and get past. Robsu still holding on strong to the back of that AlphaTauri. Resurrection is now down, with Plivank managing to just get past him. You see some great battles, and we're not even that far into today's Grand Prix. We're looking at quite a wide variety of tyres out on track today, with a lot of mediums and softs, but Resurrection being an oddball, going for hards instead of mediums or softs. He might be looking for a longer stint to stay on the track longer, as this is a 33 lap Grand Prix. All drivers managing to push their ways up. But Plivank moving up 4 positions up to first. We've got we've got Luke as well. 3rd place, he's managed to move up 10 positions already. Will he be looking to go all the way? He still has Robsu, who's managed to move up 3 behind him, however. And Robsu is still looking to move up, close that gap, and get past. Robsu being the leading driver in the standings as of now, as well as being the main driver pushing Mercedes up. Getting a lot of penalties out there already as well, with multiple warnings for track limits. Seem to have a bit of light rain coming on as well. See how that affects the driver's tyre choices with possibly having to move to intermediates, but we'll have to wait and see for that. See if the weather gets bad enough. Resurrection has managed to move back up to first place. He's now trying to open that gap between him and Prix behind him. With the rain coming on though, that's going to be a bit more difficult. Most of the drivers not taking the rain as much of a concern yet and appear to be staying out on their current sets. Got 3 penalties for speeding in the pit lane as Nico, Trucker and Chia all move in. Possibly look like they're going to be moving in to change their tyres now. And yet we've got them coming on intermediates. 3 intermediates now on track. They could possibly be doing that now to be able to take advantage of when everyone else goes into the pits later on. Those penalties are not going to do them any good in the long run. I've got 4 pairs of intermediates currently out on track. As the weather worsens, we're going to be looking at more possibly coming out. Resurrection still holding on to that first place with Plevank in second. Only about 0.4 behind him, but Resurrection's looking to open up that gap. As we now have more drivers moving into the pits. I imagine that most drivers swapping to intermediates. But Hugo though deciding to stay out in his current pair of mediums. DRS is now disabled. Drivers are now moving out of the pits. The Spider comes through. Oh no, that's Nico coming through to beat most of the drivers coming out of the pits on intermediates. We're now moving to wet conditions on the track. Got Hugo in his McLaren sticking to his mediums, which is an unusual one to see. Whether that will do him any good in the long run, we will see. With Resurrection now back out, he's going to be looking to move up and close that gap. Whether those mediums are going to be a benefit or a downside. Oh, he slides out. Looks like they're going to be more of a downside than an upside. May have managed to push him up by staying out, where that is not going to do him good in the long run, being the only driver out now who is not on intermediates. With Resurrection shortening that gap. It's still deciding to stay out, which is extremely unusual. We're in full wet conditions and he's sticking to a set of mediums. It's not going to do him any good as he's going to be losing grip on a lot of corners. It's going to be hard for him to keep the temps of his tyres up as well. Resurrection still shortening that gap. It's just bewildered me that he's staying out on mediums. Resurrection is 3 seconds behind now. Robso as well, moving his way up to 3rd behind Resurrection. As well as Plevac now in 4th, just behind Robso. Melv in 5th as well. We now see his choice to stay out on mediums reflected as the drivers and intermediates come past him, with Resurrection and Robso being the first to take advantage. With Plevac now also passing him. He's still staying out on the 8-lap old mediums. Got Melv now taking advantage, passing him on the straight. He comes around now. Baz is going to be looking to take advantage as well and move past. Baz now taking advantage as he goes off the track. It's an unusual decision to stick to those tyres. With all the drivers now taking advantage and moving back up, with Resurrection taking 1st and Robsu 2nd. So we are now 9 laps in. So we'll look at our current penalties. With Melv on a 3-second penalty, presumably for track limits. San on 3 seconds, presumably track limits. Jimmy on a 5-second, which is most likely going to be speeding pit. NLM Trucker is on 8 seconds, most likely for both track limits and then speeding in the pit lane. Sheep is on 3 seconds, most likely for track limits. Nico on 8. Track limits and most likely a pit lane warning, and Chia on 5, most likely for a pit lane warning. Drivers received another 3-second time penalty for track limit warnings. Pardon me. We now see gaps starting to form between the groups of drivers. Hugh has now fallen down to 12th due to his decision to stay out on mediums instead of swapping to intermediates. Resurrection holding on to 1st, Robsu 2nd, Melv in 3rd. Plebank is in 4th with Baz not too far behind him in 5th. FCRL Luke in 6th, San in 7th. Jimmy managing to push himself up to 8th. Trucker in 9th. Sheepers in 10th. Nico in 11th. Chia in 12th. Euro in 13th. Still on the set of mediums. Spiders in 14th. BGR now in 15th after his qualifying. That is not great for him. And Eric in 16th. Robsu definitely looking for that gap to try and get past Resurrection. They're actually moving closer to lapping Eric. As Eric has now appears to have gone off the track. Eric has a 10-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. Obviously still trying to move in closer to Resurrection. Robster's managed to sneak past Resurrection. Resurrection managing to switch it back, just as he had the power to keep it. As Robster managed to take first from Resurrection around the bends. Now he's got to try and hold on to that building with Resurrection still being very close behind. Got Melv managing to sneak his way up as well. They come back into the final straight once again. Resurrection's getting really close. He looks like he's going to be trying to take the opportunity. And he might, is he going to get it? He just misses the opportunity to get past. Rob's who's still holding on to that top position. Resurrection's still looking for that opportunity to get through. Very close behind. This is some absolute fantastic battles we are seeing. DRS has now enabled Resurrection, is going to be looking to take advantage of that. To keep that gap minimal in order to use it. It's going to be an interesting one for sure as they come into the final straight. Resurrection making use of DRS. Is he going to be able to use it to take the position? Moves out, but just then moves back in at the last second. Does not have the time to do it. Robsy holding in first still. Resurrection still being close behind. Melv's now managed to sneak his way up as well, looking to find an opportunity to pass Resurrection. Got more drivers moving into the pits now. We've got some drivers coming out on hards and mediums once again. As the rain has eased up, we are now just looking at normal wet conditions. The track will start to dry up, hence the drivers swapping to medium and hards. We've got Resurrection, Melv and Robsu all moving into the pits now. Same with Baz. The 4 drivers in the top now going to be swapping tyres. Robsu on mediums with a great stop from the Mercedes there. Resurrection just moving up behind him, though also on mediums, Melv on hards and Baz on hards as well. as the Williams Plevac manages to pass Baz as he comes out of the pit lane. Robsu still managing to hold on to pole as he comes out of the pits, with Resurrection being in second. Mel's not too far behind in third either. All drivers have now swapped off of their intermediates and are onto a mix of medium and hards. Truly see what I mean with the elevation changes in this track. On lap 15, we're about halfway through the race today. Robsu down as Resurrection managed to pass him. Resurrection up to first with Robsu second. Will Robsu be able to manage to swap it back and get back up? He is very close to the rear of Resurrection. Going to be looking to take advantage of DRS. Resurrection obviously putting up some great competition today as we now head on to lap 13. 17, sorry, I am blind. Some competition between Melv and Plevank as well. So the Williams is looking to pass the Alpine. Baz as well now managing to emerge from behind. San as well, being 1.5 behind. Robsu managing to pass Resurrection trying to hold it, but he just managed to come back out on top. These two drivers are really going at it today, with Robsu trying to pass him once again. Resurrection just managing to hold that position. Oh my god, these drivers are going at it today. Some of the best competition we have seen so far this season. They come back into the final straight. Robson's going to be looking to take advantage of DRS. He tries to find that gap, but it just doesn't open. Now second on to Resurrection's rear end. Is he going to find that gap to get past and take first again? It will remain to be seen. These Robsu and Resurrection are still battling it out now. Especially with the dry conditions now returning. Got Mel, Fluvank and Baz currently trying to battle it out for third. Oh, Resurrection just manages to... Robsu manages to pass Resurrection using DRS. These two drivers are going at it like it is nothing today. Robsu now trying to open up a gap between him and Resurrection. Resurrection's going to be looking to take advantage of DRS as well. So he's wanting to keep that gap as close as he can. So we now come back on towards the final straight once again. He's going to be looking to open up with DRS. As he closes that gap exponentially, he moves out. He just has the speed to get past Robsu. Oh, Robsu manages to get past again as Resurrection goes off the track. But he's not giving up yet. 13 laps to go. Jimmy currently sitting in 11th. Was Nico in 12th. Jimmy's going to be looking to close that massive gap between him and Trucker, see if he can move up. He's not going to be too worried now that as Trucker has received quite a few penalties. We're going to go through the penalties once again. Currently we are looking at Melv on a 3-second. Plevank's also on a 3-second. Sans on a 6. Luke is on a 3, Sheepers is on a 6, Trucker's on a 9, Jimmy is on a 3, Nico is on a 3, Chia is on a 5, and BGR is on a 3. These penalties are definitely going to factor in when it comes to the final results of today's Grand Prix. Got Robsu and Resurrection. Robsu managed to open up that gap, eliminate some of the threat from Resurrection. He's trying to eliminate his usage of DRS. Whether he can hold that is going to remain to be seen. Robsu's holding that gap open as best he can. Resurrection is going to be looking to slowly close in. They come back on into the final straight. Is Resurrection going to be able to make use of DRS? Just doesn't have the time available to get that DRS tail open. Starting to see a lot of gaps in groups of drivers forming. Of course, Robsu and Resurrection currently in front, now gap. Then we see Mel, Plebank, Baz Then with another gap we see San, and then Luke with another bigger gap. And then we start to see Sheepers with a massive gap. Trucker's also got a massive gap, but he's also got Hero behind him. Then we have a slight gap between him and Jimmy, with Nico not holding too far of a gap between him and Jimmy. Chia has also got a slight larger gap between him and Nico. Spider has quite a considerable gap between him and Chia, and then BGR having a massive gap between him and Spider. Robson and Resurrection, though, still having some of the greatest competition we have seen in this race and this season as a whole today. Who's going to take this Grand Prix is yet to be seen. Spider's retired from today's session. Robson and Resurrection moving into the pits, Meld as well. Is Baz going to follow suit? Yes, he is. We have a safety car coming out. Robson managed to take out first of the pits. Resurrection not too far behind as they come out. The safety car is going to limit this as we now have a safety car on track. We now have to wait for the drivers to start to group up behind the safety car. Those massive gaps I was talking about earlier are now going to start to close, and we're going to start to see some more competition between drivers. A lot of the drivers now grouping up. We're currently waiting on the drivers towards the back of the grid to start to move in. Looks as if safety car is going to be out for another lap at least. A couple of drivers now looking to keep their tyres warm. As Hero and Nico now move into the group. Still waiting on Chia and BGR to move up towards the group. And with the safety car, we are looking at Robsu in first, Resurrection in second, Melvin third, Baz in fourth, Sam in fifth, Plivank in sixth, Luke in seventh, Sheepers in eighth, Trucker in ninth, Jimmy in 10th, Euro in 11th, Nico in 12th, Chia in 13th, and Bijan in 14th. Now with the drivers starting to group up, we're going to see more fighting to move up. Safety car is in this lap. Drivers now take it slow and start warming their tyres back up. Safety car is now back into the pit lane. As we now come back to the final straight, and we are back to racing. Jimmy taking advantage, moving up to 9th. Got Melv managing to push past Resurrection. However, received a 3-second time penalty. Robsu still managing to hold a close hold on first. Robsu's still managing to hold on to first. Doesn't have too much to worry about as long as he can keep those gaps large and not receive a penalty. He will be good. Melv or Resurrection with their current penalties won't be too much of a threat to Robsu, as even if they manage to pass him, Robsu still has a good chance of holding on to that position through the penalties. He's still going to be defending that position. Now setting a new fastest lap at 19.8. With purple on all sectors. Oh, we got Plivank going off the track. Has moved down to 14th. Resurrection falling back to 6th. Now Baz moving up towards Melv and Robsu. Baz is going to be one that Robsu will need to worry about if he manages to pass Melv, as Baz does not have any current penalties. Robsu still having to hold that close grip on first. Starting to form a gap between him and Melv. Melv now setting a new fastest lap at the 19.1. DRS now enabled. Melvin's really close behind Robsu here. Gonna be looking for a chance to try and get past. Now with DRS being on his side. Robsu's still keeping that tight grip on first. Melv's still not too far behind. Baz starting to slightly drop behind Melv. Got the AlphaTauris in 4th and 5th. Resurrection now looking to pass his teammate. Resurrection back up to 4th. We've got Melv trying to pass Robsu using DRS. He just manages to get it. Robsu has managed to hold on to that position. We've got a larger gap between Baz and Melv now starting to form. Jimmy has now managed to push himself up to... Jimmy trying to put in a good fight. He's managed to push himself up to 7th past Trucker. Is he going to be able to hold it? He just managed to come out past him on the corner. Trucker's going to be using DRS to his advantage so as to come around into the final straight. He opens up with DRS. Passes Jimmy. Steady back to that position, Jimmy does not have the speed to keep it. Got Melv currently now moving up to 1st, with Robsu not being too far behind him. These two drivers now having a larger gap between them and 3rd, with Baz falling behind. Robsu's still not too far behind. He's going to be looking for the opportunity to try and get past. He's going to try and keep that gap low so we can make use of DRS in the upcoming zone. I cannot speak. That's my issue today. They come around towards the final straight. So now into the DRS zone. Obviously, he's going to open up a DRS. Gains that momentum. Is he going to be able to use it to go past? He just manages to get stayed on with Melv coming into the corner. Makes contact. They come around the corner, but Robsu, albeit, comes on top. Robsu is really putting out some great competition there. Some great fighting to hold on to his position. Really outstanding what performance Robsu is pushing out of his car today. Resurrection moved up to 3rd, is now moving closer to Melv, going to be trying to look for that opportunity to progress up the grid. Robsu opening up that gap to attempt to prevent Melv from being able to use DRS coming in the upcoming zone. He just doesn't have the time. He's got a too large of a gap. He's unable to make use of DRS in this straight. Now come down with 2 laps remaining. Robsu is holding a tight grip on 1st. Jimmy moving up the standings, managing to move up to 6th. Jimmy, with his amazing performance last race, managed to push Williams up the standings and himself back up the standings. Robsu now holding on to first with Mel not too far behind. Currently looking at a mix of mostly softs with a couple of mediums out there, most being 8 or 9 laps old. Most drivers are going to be holding out. We have 2 laps to go, moving on to the final lap. As you come around onto the final straight, Robsu opening up that gap. Melv is going to be able to use DRS to his advantage though, as he opens up. He looks for that gap and he just managed to get on side on, taking that position from Robsu. We now enter the final lap. Melv holding on to that position. Will he be able to keep it though? Robsu does open up DRS, but it's not enough. Robsu has 6 major turns left to attempt to get that move up. Robsu managed to keep it. Robsu managed to pass round on the bend. Mel falling back to second. Now come around in sector 3, coming up towards the final straight. Going around the final corner. Robsu managing to hold on to first as they come into the final straight. They come up on the finish line. And Robsu taking first, Melv second, Resurrection third. As now going to be accounting for penalties as they come round. As we now close to an end of the Portuguese Grand Prix. What an outstanding race today, and what some great performance from the drivers. Let's take a look at our final standings for today. Jimmy being awarded driver of the day. Let's have a look at our final standings for today's Grand Prix. Alright, Robsu managing to take first place, Baz in second with penalties accounted for, Melv in third, Resurrection taking fourth, Chia in fifth, Jimmy taking sixth, Luke taking seventh, Nico in eighth, Klivank in ninth, San taking 10th, Sheep is taking 11th, Trucker taking 12th, 13th is BGR, Yo in 14th, Spider's going to be in 15th, Eric in 16th, and Dr. Braden finishing on the back of the grid. What a great Grand Prix today. With me as I just quickly do that. Alright. Thank you. That was a great race. Now we are going to move on to see if we can get some drivers in for post-race interviews. See what some of the drivers think of the performance today. So wait to see if we have any drivers that would like to be held for interviews. Just bear with us as we get all the drivers in.
Hello?
Hello.
You right?
Yeah, just bear with me, seeing if we can get all the drivers in or whether it's just going to be you.
Oh, that race was mad.
It was indeed, especially with that sudden rain that came in the middle.
I was hoping for it. I had my car. My car is not great in the dry there. I can't get a setup to work for me there. But I can get it to work in the rain. And I started catching them all. And then it started to slow down. I was like, no. Not now.
Alright.
Keep going.
Let's just wait to see if we can get the others in. I'm not sure if they are going to be.
Yeah, I was catching Robster and Resurrection big time. Down from 5 seconds. I got them down to a second. And then it was like drawing line. I was, no, too early. Got to see if I can get one of my penalties removed as well.
Even with the penalties, you still managed to push yourself up.
Yeah, one of them, I almost ran into the back of that hippos. So I took the corner, I cut the corner, but then let loads of cars pass me. So I didn't actually gain an advantage. So hopefully they'll remove it for that reason. Because like I was trying to avoid him. That's the only reason I cut it. So hopefully.
We'll see what the stewards say.
Yeah.
Is Robsu going to be joining us?
Looks like Baz is here.
Yeah, I've invited him to speak.
I'm in charge.
And Robsu's here as well. See if we can get everyone up and then we'll get on with this. Oh, the moment he came up, I clicked it. Whoops. I apologise, Baz.
Oh yeah, there we go. I think I'm speaking.
Alright, we're up with the top 3 for today's race. We've got Robsu, Melv and Baz. Great performance today, guys, especially with that sudden rain we had in the middle of the race. So, Robsu, I'd like to start with speaking with you. How did you find the race today? If you can. Yep.
Well, I thought it was fun. I mean, I like this track, and I had basically a new setup. Well, new, but I tweaked it a little bit, and it was actually fantastic. But other than that, yeah, the race was very, very fun.
How did you find your competition today, especially with Resurrection, throughout the lower laps of the race? Especially, I saw that you two were having some great fights on there. How did you find that?
It was fun. I mean, it was fair and hard racing and fun. So it was just great.
Yeah, you two were really battling it out today. Alright. Baz coming in second. How did you find the race today?
The race was extremely difficult. I've got to say, I did some time trials before the race, and it was 9 restarts before turn 1. That's how difficult I found it. I tried every setup that I had, but I ended up going with a default setup, and I just knew I just needed to stay on the track, avoid the track limits, because I knew people would get a lot, which they did, which secured me P2. But from starting
the penalties that managed to push you up.
Yeah, and I think I started P12, finished P2, hopefully after all the decisions are made. But yeah,
that
other than after the
performance
race,
was incredible.
yeah, after the race, it was superb. Just smash it, just keep going and going and going. But yeah, I enjoyed the competitions getting mental as we're getting through the season. Yeah, you can definitely tell who's improving and who wants it more than others. But yeah, superb race.
The competition, especially after the safety car went back in as well, as everyone bunched back together.
That's it. Yeah, I could see San in the Aston Martin. He outbraked himself quite a few times, but you've got to realise after a safety car restart, and you've got 4 cars in front of you or 3, they're braking at a certain point, and it has a knock-on effect. So everyone behind just has to like think, well, hang on, yeah, that's going to happen. But yeah, other than that, yeah, superb. Loved it.
Melv coming P3 today. How did you find the race today?
To be honest, I struggled in the dry. The car was all over the place. Coming out of corners, the car was just, I was losing the back end galore. As soon as that rain came, though, it switched on. I was stuck to the ground and I was catching everyone. I managed to pass Baz. And then I was just catching Robsu and Resurrection just before the rain stopped. And then the rain stopped and he caught, and I saw them go in. And I thought, if I don't go in now, I'm way out. So I dived in with them guys, and it seems I had the straight line speed because every time on the straight I'd catch Robson without any errs and just the DRS. But he had me in the corners. His car was planted. I just couldn't keep with him in the corners. So the only chance he had was hold it till the 32nd lap, get it start of the 33rd lap, and try and get him down the straight. I did, but then I made a mistake coming out of one of the hairpins, and he got the place back. But with the time penalty anyway, I would have fell down.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, guys did a great job. I'm just trying to keep it on the road. I've got 3 seconds for track limits, and like I was saying to you before this interview, I got one for cutting a corner, but I didn't really cut it because I was avoiding someone, and I let everyone go to give back the time I made. So hopefully that's removed, but we'll see.
Yeah. I'd like to mention as well, obviously, your performance this entirety of this season has been absolutely phenomenal, keeping yourself on top of the driver standings, as well as keeping Mercedes on top of the constructor standings. So I'd like to say a really good well done with that.
Yeah, I've been surprised myself, but thank you.
Yeah. And Baz as well, your performance as well has really been pushing Ferrari up the standings as well.
Yeah, it's been a good season up to yet. A couple of mistakes in qualifying, but other than that, my race pace is mental. If you look on the statistics, I think my pure race pace for 3 weeks solid, I was at the top. So yeah, it's all good fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think
me, I feel like the pressure's off me a bit because I've had 2 DNFs now. I feel like I'm way out. I'm not even going to get into the top 3, so I'm just doing it with a load of fun now, and it just seems to be working better for me without the pressure.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, definitely.
The
when
more
it's more
stress,
fun,
the more pressure you're going to have on you.
Exactly. I was like, I've had 2 DNFs now. I'm out of this championship. Robsu's flying. Resurrection's up there. Baz is up there. And with that win that Jimmy had the other week, that's pushed him right up there. It's like, I'm out of this championship race now. I'm just going to enjoy the rest of it and just enjoy it now.
That's it. Enjoy it, have fun, have a laugh, and yeah, definitely.
It was unusual that the last race we had. I know my internet cut out, so unfortunately the stream died, so I couldn't really finish it off. But Jimmy's win last week was, or not last week, the last round was outstanding, pushing him up to 3rd in the standings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was unlucky. I DNF'd because on the first lap, I believe it was Ali House spun straight in front of me and broke my wing. And then a couple laps later, I went to overtake someone. And as I went to overtake, he overtook and he hit me and it damaged my rear wing. So I ended up retiring because I just couldn't keep it on the road.
Yeah.
So I was very unlucky that race.
How are you guys feeling for the next coming rounds of the season? How are you feeling in terms of, are you going to be able to push yourselves up, hold your position? What are you feeling like? Start with Robsu.
Well, I don't know. I do have a feeling that the pressure is gonna get me. I do have this kind of feeling, and there's gonna be, hopefully not, but I don't know.
It's yet to
I
be
really,
seen. We'll
I
see.
really don't know. Yeah.
Baz, how are you feeling for the rest of the season?
Now I'm feeling very confident, very confident. Yeah, definitely.
Good
I'm
to
coming
hear.
one with the car, and yeah, everything's just starting to flow into place. Definitely.
How about you, Melv?
Well, I'm looking forward to Mexico. I normally do all right at Mexico. Austin, I'm okay, but Japan and Abu Dhabi, I suck. So I'm going to lose some
Better
big
get that
places on
practice
the
in.
last. No matter how much I practice, that is never coming. So I'm going to drop a few places in Japan and Abu Dhabi, but I think if I finish top 10 in the last 2 races, I'll be happy. And I should get a sort of, I'd say, I'm hoping for a top 5 finish in the drivers, but anything I'd say with the quality of the drivers' championship, people in it, I'm going to say anything sort of top 8, I'll be really happy with, to be honest.
Yeah. All right.
Because
Well,
it is really close up there. So
thank you guys for your time today. Is there anything
Oh,
else you
you're
want to
welcome.
add before we finish off, or?
GG's, boys. What a race.
I'll see you guys next week for round 7.
Thanks,
see you
Mike
next week.
Master.
You
No,
guys
thanks.
take
GG's,
care now.
bye. Take care. Bye.
Take care. Yeah. Bye.
Alright, what a great end to the round today. Thank you for watching. This has been Season 6, Round 6 of BRL Tier 2. And we will see you next week for Round 7, which is... I need to find it, because I have lost it. Round 7, which will be Mexico. Until then, take care, and I will see you all then.